Hello there, Pastor Al.
Shalom, Gidon Ariel. Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom, shalom. Nice to see you.
You too, sir. You too. How hot is it there?
I was just also asking because you're wearing a jacket. Is it cold there?
No, it's not. I'm just wearing a black shirt.
Okay.
No, it's in triple digits all week here.
Oh my goodness.
Fahrenheit digits.
Oh boy. No. It's comfortable here,
Great. Beautiful.
even though I'm in the desert.
I wish I was there. That's
How are
good.
things besides the weather, Mrs. Lincoln? How are things doing over there in Texas?
Everything's doing well here in Texas. Um it's the ridiculous Pride Month, so you just don't watch much of the news. So I preached on humility yesterday without
Oh.
without letting them be part of the subject matter. Anyway,
I'm going to ask you, tell me a little bit about your church. What's the name of your church?
it's Generations Church. It started out of a prayer meeting 31 years ago, and I was recruited to help them, and I've been helping them ever since. The gateway actually was my wife. She was in children's ministry at the time at the church we were part of in Grand Prairie. And so I went along to help her, and 9 months later, I became their first senior pastor.
They started out, what did you say, as a home group?
Yes, yeah, started out of a home. So the same original families are either with us or they've passed away or we know where they are. There's 5 families, yes.
5 families.
Yes.
And how many families or people are there now? How would you count?
There's probably 80 families.
Is that a small church or an average sized church? How would you
in when I was growing up in the 70s, that was like an average size. Now it's kind of a small average size. There's so many mega churches, so yeah.
That's what evidently the people, I'm guessing that's what the people who go to the mega churches want. They want the mega church. It's sort of like going to a Madison Square Garden event every week, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, people value their anonymity, and in a small church, you don't have that. So anyway, but
Gotcha.
yeah, so I don't have any conflicts with mega churches. They're doing a great work, and anyway, they have their hands full. As you know, the larger the group, the more
Right.
problems come.
And so you've been leading the church for about 30 years, you said?
31 years, yes, sir.
Wow. And it's always been around that 80 people, 80 families.
No, we were years less than 50 people. I think the first 5 years.
People. And how much of your time does that take up?
I'm full time. I have Mondays where I rest, and Fridays and Saturdays I spend with the Lord and the Bible and studying. Then Sundays is our gatherings, and then Mondays my time off. This is why it's so ideal to do this with you on Mondays.
Ah,
I do not consider this work. This is such a joy for me. I thank you for doing this.
thank
How
you.
many people do you do this with during a normal week or monthly? How are you doing that?
I didn't hear the beginning of the question.
How many people are you doing this with, weekly or monthly?
So I've been doing with Dr. Booker. What happened was Dr. Richard Booker is a pastor that I met many years ago, and we'd had the opportunity to engage with each other a few times. And one time we were in a group on Zoom, and I said I'd love to be able to have conversation with somebody, but not like once a year or something like that you forget. Every time you meet with somebody, oh yeah, we're friends. What friends? You don't even remember what your name is. You don't even remember what you look like. So I wanted to do something more regularly. So I challenged him, let's meet once a week. And he took me up on that challenge, and we've been meeting for like 2 years or something like that.
Yes.
every week. And so but I'd like to spread the joy and meet with other people as well. So it took a little while. Finally, you came around, and here we are, and we're meeting like once a month. And I just last week met actually a Jewish person from, I think, Atlanta. He said he's from. I don't remember exactly where. Doesn't matter. And he's got something interesting to talk about. So I'm having a conversation with him also. And I hope that the other one or two people that I'd hoped to have a monthly conversation with will come back out of their anonymity.
Yes.
And then I'll be able to have like 3 or 4 people, not a week. I mean, today, it all happened today that you're the third person that I'm talking to after I spoke with Dr. Booker earlier. And this fellow, Jason Kaplan, in between, I think, or maybe before. And it's a little bit with my tongue out, but that's okay. And I hope that we'll be able to, like you and I already are scheduled, I think once a month. So
Yeah.
I hope to schedule him once a month and him once a month. And then I'll be able to do 1 or 2 people a week, and then I'll have a few spare for other times as well, in case we miss somebody. Like in the next few weeks, I'm having, not next week, but I think in 2 weeks, I'm going to be in a week-long, we call it in Hebrew, Hishtalmut, a study week for nonprofits.
Okay.
On in real life in Jerusalem.
Okay.
So and then the week after that, I'm going to have a week-long Bible conference that I'm participating. It's unbelievable. These are the top Bible teachers in Israel.
Okay.
Most of the lectures are in Hebrew. They have what's it called? Not a trend, a track in English also. I think they might also have a track in Spanish. But but every hour has 7 options. For 5 hours a day, I actually think that the lectures are an hour and a half, not just an hour. So it's from 9 o'clock to 5 o'clock, 5 lessons, and you have to choose from one of 7 lectures in a week, an hour.
Okay.
So that comes out to, I think, 35 a day, 35 times 7, 5 times 7.
Okay.
Times 4 days. So it's over 120, I think 140 lectures.
So they all recorded?
No, they're not even all recorded.
Wow.
And I'm telling you, this year, in the past, I have to choose, okay, this one doesn't sound so interesting. This is not that. I have to choose maybe 1 or 2, 2 or 3, maybe an hour, 1 or 2 or 3. It wasn't that. This time it was like at least 5 an hour I wanted to attend.
Wow.
It's mamish a candy store, I'm telling you.
Amazing.
So
out of a fire hose.
exactly. So I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be the week before the 9th of Av. And then the week after that, I have another organization is doing one of those one-day events in Tel Aviv. And that I'm going to with my wife. Whew, I hope I'm going to have to bring toothpicks for my eyes because it's so strong. But it's amazing, just amazing biblical teachings. Amazing. And really, the people who don't know Hebrew, they get the English teachers are incredible as well. A lot of these teachers, both in Hebrew and in English, do appear. They do have recorded lessons on YouTube, so you can find them. Maybe I'll share with you some of the teachers that I am participating in English to show you the caliber of the teaching. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. Wow. Interesting. Well, I have a question that relates to Shabbat. Shabbat happens on the 7th day, once a week.
Right.
It's not the number 7, but it's a word that means rest, correct?
The word Shabbat means rest. It is related to the word 7. because the word seven is Sheva,
Okay.
which is a Shin Bet Ayin, while
Oh.
Shabbat is Shin Bet Tav.
Okay. That's good.
And so there are some people who propose that the Hebrew words do have, of course, a 3-letter root. So those are the 3 letters roots. Shabbat is 3 letters, Shin Bet Tav, and Sheva is Shin Bet Ayin, which, by the way, is the same word for oath.
Ah,
To swear means li shava. So it's the same word.
okay.
But anyway, all 3 of those words, or at least two of the words, share a 2-letter. Those people who believe in this theory, a 2-letter root. Because
Okay.
of course the 2 letters that Sheva and Shabbat have in common are Shin and Bet, and there is a different 3-letter root word called Yashav, which means sat or to sit. So Shin Bet is the root for sitting. So on Shabbat, when you rest, you're sitting.
Okay.
And Sheva is, I'm not sure exactly how 7 comes to be sitting. I don't know. But I think I wonder if that's certainly when you give an oath, then you are often people stand when they take an oath, but if you're sitting down, then you're strongly in one place. Then that's sort of like an oath. Also, I think that there's a relationship there.
Okay. So a solar on the solar calendar, a normal year, except every few years there'll be an extra week thrown in there, but a normal year there'll be 26 Shabbats. I mean,
No, why
52
52?
Shabbats, right?
Yeah.
And each year adds an extra day, and then leap year adds 2 days. And so eventually this winds up becoming 53 Shabbats that year. So my question is,
No.
on a solar calendar,
Oh, okay. A solar calendar. Okay.
solar calendar. So my question is, are there more Shabbats in a year than that, given the certain festivals? Where
Well, you see, that's just it. The
are they called
Christians.
Shabbats?
Yeah. So some of my Christian friends, I have to say, in a certain measure, correctly, call the festivals also a Shabbat. The Bible calls festivals a Shabbat sometimes.
Okay.
In modern Hebrew, in Israeli Hebrew, and Jewish Hebrew today, we don't call the festivals a Shabbat. The festivals are a Chag. A Chag means like a circuit, because you would circle the temple's altar on a festival.
Okay.
And also the festivals return once a year. There's a cycle. So Chag has a certain connection to the word cycle. But so that is why we call it a Chag, or Yom Tov, a good day. But we don't add another Sabbath when we have a holiday. Just the opposite. We don't take off the Sabbath, but sometimes the holidays come out on the Sabbath. There are 7 days in the week that it could come out. So, like for example, the holiday of Sukkot, Tabernacles, which is coming up in October or September and October. I'm not sure when. I think it starts something like September 29th or something like that, and it ends on October 6th, I think. Anyway, both of it's an 8-day long holiday, where the first day is the first day, and then you have 6 days in between of in between intermediary days that are like half holiday or a quarter holiday and 3/4 a regular weekday kind of day. You're allowed to do all sorts of activities. It's just your prayers are a little special. And if you're lucky, you take off the whole week as a holiday. And of course, you on Sukkot, you sit in the booth, the sukkah, all week long. Anyway, the last day is also on a Shabbat. So that's a lucky week if for people who like to go on vacation with their families, because you have 5-6 days that you can go on vacation from Sunday through Friday.
So,
but the Shabbat is the Shabbat, then it's also a holiday.
yes. But because it's 8 days, then one of those is going to be in addition to the Shabbat, right? Like if the first one happens to fall on Shabbat, so 7 days later you have Shabbat again, and then the 8th day there's another.
7 days later you have Friday.
Okay, gotcha.
And then on the eight days later you have Shabbat again. So that's why. Let's. I'm one of us. I might be wrong. Let me check. 1 second. Just
7 days later.
Let me share my screen here. This is my Hebcal, HEBCAL. That is the calendar that I like to use. So if we jump up to September here, give it a second, it's loading. There we go. So as you can see, Sukkot, this is Saturday. Let's move this over to the bottom. Saturday, the first day of the holiday, Sukkot 1, is on Saturday, the 30th day of September that in 2023. The week after it, we have CHM stands for Chol HaMoed, which means weekday holiday. That's basically what it means. It's the weekday of the holiday, as it were. So you have the second day of Sukkot is the first day of the week of the weekday of the holiday, Chol HaMoed. The second day, third day, fourth day, fifth day, 6 days. 6 days of this blue Chol HaMoed, and then on the 8th day, it's called Shmini Atzeret, the 8th day of, as they translate it here in English, as you might be able to see, the 8th day of assembly.
So they both fall on Shabbat because
that's right.
You count the day you start on.
Sure.
Yeah,
it's
and
the first day of the holiday.
Gotcha. Okay.
Passover, on the other hand, let's sneeze back 6 months. Here's Passover this year. Passover started on a Thursday. There's only 7 days of Passover.
Okay, so is that a day of rest there, the first day?
Again, yes, it's a holiday, so it's a complete day of rest. You're not allowed to drive in a car. You're not allowed to turn on lights. You're not allowed to slaughter an animal. No, animal. You're allowed to slaughter an animal because you are allowed to do a work that results in food. So even though there are 39 types of activities which are prohibited on Shabbat, some of them are allowed on a holiday.
Okay.
So in this week you have Chol HaMoed, but it comes out on a Shabbat. So it's a regular Shabbat, except again the prayers are a little bit different, and you're still eating matzah during Passover. But that's it. You have 1 day is a holiday. Yeah. Friday already is Erev Shabbat. People aren't going to go run away to do a trek or something like that because they got to be home to prepare for Shabbat. And then comes Shabbat. Then so you have Sunday and Monday, and then again Tuesday already is Erev Chag, is the day before the holiday, and then Wednesday again is the 7th day, so it's a holiday. So really, all you have in this year is 2 days that you can do something with your family outside of the house. Really.
Okay.
While on Sukkot you have 5.5 days or so. You can really go to town, as they say. Now abroad, outside of Israel, you have 2 days of the holiday because in the old days you didn't know when the holiday actually started because of the moon. You had to look at the moon. You didn't have the the lunar calendar. It was a lunar calendar, but you didn't have the lunar mathematics all set ahead of time. So you had to depend on somebody looking at the moon and saying, "Hey, I saw the moon." You run to you
Yeah.
run to the temple and you tell the court that sat in the temple, "We saw the moon," and they question you. And then they decided, okay, today is the first day of the month, so 15 days from today will be the holiday. But if you lived abroad, far away, then you had to do it with torches. They put a torch up on a high mountain, and then from the person on another high mountain far away, you also saw the torch. And then there were the Karaites that didn't like that the Jews were doing it this way. The rabbinic Jews were doing it this way, so they would mix them up. They would put torches on a different day. It was a whole balagan. The Jews really know how to fight with each other. But anyway, that's why outside of the land of Israel, you had 2 days of yellow, if you would, 2 days of complete holiday.
Okay.
And that's why you would have an 8th day of Passover also outside of Israel, for example, in the United States. So, and then if you had Shabbat, which you do, of course. So last year, the Jews in America had Thursday that they didn't go to work, and then Friday they didn't go to work, and then Saturday they didn't go to work.
Okay.
It's real. It can be tough for the people, and you have to tell your boss, "Listen, I'm an Orthodox Jew. I can't come to work. I'm not coming on Thursday. I'm not coming on Friday. I'm certainly not coming on Saturday. Used to that, but I'm also next week not coming in on Wednesday and not on Thursday."
Okay.
And during the fall festivals, forget it. Here's Rosh Hashanah. Rosh Hashanah, thankfully, this year comes out on Saturday and Sunday. So they're not missing work. But then Yom Kippur comes out on Monday, mixing work. And then Sukkot, luckily, came out on Saturday and Sunday. And then again, Saturday and Sunday. So this year, you're barely missing any work. You're only missing on Monday of Yom Kippur. But on another year, let's say the year before this in 22, let's see. Let's pull back to January 22. Here's September, right? So here's Rosh Hashanah is Monday and Tuesday.
Okay.
Of September 26th and 27th last year. And then Yom Kippur is Wednesday. And then Sukkot is again Monday and Tuesday. And then again it's Monday and Tuesday. So how many days did you just miss? You just missed 5 days that you're taking vacation. Not to mention the day before that you have to prepare for this stuff. Some people take off a half a day before. Not to mention my wife, for example, she likes to prepare for Passover a few days. So she takes off a few days before that also. So you're taking off a lot of vacation. Believe me, you're not taking the red eye to Atlantic City. You're sitting at home and preparing meals and sitting in meals with your family, but that's the way it is.
That's beautiful. Well, it keeps I've heard it said that the children of Israel keep the Sabbath and the Sabbath keeps them.
Oh, yes, more than the children of Israel kept the Sabbath. The Sabbath kept the children of Israel, the people of Israel. And I definitely feel that. If I wouldn't keep Shabbat, then what would keep me as a Jew? Every week, it's an anchor in our lives.
And you're with family. You're
Family, community,
yes,
God, Torah. It's the most important Jewish characteristic is the Shabbat, no question about it. There's a good book that I haven't read it, but everybody says it's great, written by a rabbi named Rabbi Joshua. What's his name? Joshua Heschel.
okay.
Heschel is his last name. I think is Jonathan Joshua. I don't remember. And the name of the book is Shabbat or Sabbath. The Sabbath. Let's take a peek at it. Let's look for it. 1 second. Here it is, Heschel, number 3 here. Abraham Joshua Heschel.
Yes.
Highly recommended. Let's take a peek at it.
So
Abraham Joshua Heschel's The Sabbath has been hailed as a classic of Jewish spirituality. And let's see what, no, who knows how many, yeah, this is an older version of it. It looks like an old copy, an old style cover. You can pick it up for $4. Highly recommended. Number 2 bestseller in Jewish life and Jewish theology.
Okay.
Did you ever? It's the top one of the top 10,000 books in all books. So it's quite a book, and it's a classic. It says here that this edition was published in 2005, but he died in 1972. So he didn't publish it in 2005. When did it first come out? I'm not sure. Not sure. Long time ago. Highly recommended.
All right. Well, can we spin off from that with a question related to Sukkot?
Sure.
And a passage in Amos that I think I have heard connects to a prayer that's prayed at some point during Sukkot. Amos 9:11 on God promising to raise up the tabernacle of David, which has fallen down.
Just 1 second. Let me open it up here. 9:11, huh? Oh boy. Amos 9:11. It's the last chapter.
Yes.
On that day I will raise up the fallen tabernacle of David. Of course, he's talking about the temple. I don't remember when Amos was. Let's see, maybe it says so in the beginning of his book. Oh, he lived in my neighborhood. The words of Amos, he was amongst the cowboys. Amos was a cowboy in a place called Tekoa. Here, this is where I live. Tekoa is a little bit further down over here.
Okay.
As the crow flies, it's maybe 10 kilometers from here.
Okay.
In the days of Uzziah, the king of Judah, and Yerovam ben Yoash, the king of Israel. I don't do much about this, but yeah, okay. So what about him? So he said, he, amongst other things, prophesied about the end of days. When in those end of days, I will, like I said, lift up the temple. So we're looking forward to the temple being lifted up.
So it's the temple, even though the word is sukkah.
The way I understand it, and again, I'm not gonna go into the deeply, but I think he was using it again. I'm sure that there's interesting things that we can learn, but he was using that word as a metaphor.
Okay.
In other words, the word mikdash
Yes.
is a holy temple, but of course he could have used the word house,
Yeah,
or tent, any of these words that symbolize a place.
Okay.
Living.
So that's verse 11. That's the promise. And then verse 12 seems to be the results of the promise's fulfillment.
Well, again, this is you caught me on a chapter that I know some of the verses, but to really say, oh yeah, I know this, I just studied it, or I taught it.
No, I'm not trying to trick you or anything.
Or challenge me. Again, I probably mentioned, oh, believe it or not, I have a book in my hand. Ta-da, there it is. So as you can see, this is the beginning of the book, or this is the beginning of the next book, the book of Obadiah.
Okay.
But you see this little space in the in the text, and here's another space in the text, and another space in the text. Yes.
Those are paragraphs, correct?
Yeah, or passages. So I would read not starting from verse 11, but from verse 7, where that starts. So I'll try to read it. You are like the people, sons of Cush, a place, Cushites. You're like to me. In other words, you're special. The children of Israel, says the Lord, and the way that I brought up the children of Israel from Egypt, and I also brought up the Philistines from a place called Kaftor, and I brought up the Aramites from a place called Kir. And now the eyes of God, the Lord God, are in this sinful kingdom, and I destroyed it all from the face of the earth. But I'm telling you, I will never destroy the children of Israel or the children of Jacob, the house of Jacob, saith the Lord. Even though I destroyed others, I'm never going to destroy you. That's a pretty strong verse against replacement theologists.
Yeah.
who think that God is replacing the Jewish people. He says, I'm never going to replace you. Because here I am commanding, and I called or I moved all of the nations regarding Israel, the same way that a what do you call it? It's a kind of a thing that you use in the kitchen.
Sifter?
A sifter, yeah. But not a single stone will fall to the ground from the sifter. The stones all stay in there. Something like that. In other words, I'm going to make sure that not a single Jewish person will disappear. I'm going to save every last one of them.
Okay.
The Amorites, all of them will, the sinners of the Amorites will all be killed by sword. Lo tagish, what does it say? Lo tagish v'takdim ba'adeinu ra. I'm not sure what that means. All the bad will come to them. But on that day, I will lift up, now we're up to verse 11, I will lift up the fallen house of David, or tent of David, or sukkah of David. I will fix all the holes that are in it. And all the broken down parts I will lift up. And I will rebuild her forever, in order that she, the people of Israel, the tent of the sukkah of David, will inherit whatever's left of the Edomites and all of the nations, that my name will be upon them, saith the Lord. The Lord has done this. What exactly that means, I'm not sure. I mean, how will that look in the future? I don't know. Again, the Jewish people were, I think it might have to do a little bit with the Christians. We focused less throughout our 2,000 years of exiled history on the prophets and on the end of days prophecies. Number one, because the Christians focused on that so much. This is the way I understand it. I might not really know history too well, but it's the way I understand it. Number two, things weren't so good for us. So it was a little bit like a knetch, a pinch. Here, Gidon, I'm going to send you all this delicious food, and I haven't eaten it for a week. You're telling me you're going to send it? Just send it already. And ultimately, I think that the Jews got tired of reading these wonderful prophecies. They never gave up on them, but it was uncomfortable for them to focus on them. Also, we focused much more on the Talmud in our studies, and on the Bible. On the Torah for our weekly readings. We knew the Torah flat, a few prophecies out of all the books of the prophecies. You had 3 books, each one is about 50 or 60 chapters, and another 12 books altogether, I would guess about another 50 chapters, not to mention the earlier prophets that aren't so prophetic. They're historical prophets, as you call them, the book of Kings, the book of Samuel, book of Judges, the book of Joshua. So the Haftarah, the weekly prophetic readings, would often come from those non-prophetic books. They were history books, as it were. So there were very little interactions with the prophetic books and the prophecies of the end of days. Today we live in the end of days.
Yes.
And we're seeing so many of these prophecies coming true. So it is amazing to read them. It's, if I can bring back the metaphor that I used before. Dear Gidon, I'm going to send you a delicious cake. Love, Mom. What are you talking about? I see it over here. Look at that delicious cake. You keep on sending me all these delicious cakes. I want to hear more and more about them. So today we read, like I said before, today to spend time learning all of these other books of the Bible, the prophets, the writings, it is fascinating. And not to mention that those history books that we talked about, the book of Joshua, the book of Kings, the book of Judges, it all happened here in the land of Israel.
Yes.
When we read about it, I'm reading about my backyard.
Right.
Things that we could never understand for thousands of years because we weren't here. And now we're here, it becomes clear. When Rashi or any of the other commentators wrote a commentary about the book of Judges or the book of Kings, they did their best to try to understand it. You take a look at the map that Rashi wrote. It's, a map from 1,000 years ago. It's, it's not a GPS map. But today you use the GPS map. You understand things much better.
Yes. So would it be safe to say then the fulfillment of that prophecy is going to bless the world? Edomites and the heathen.
Let me open the book again. I closed it, unfortunately. 1 second. One second. Here we are. The man Yeshua She'erit Edom v'chol goyim asher nikra shmi alehem numan alayim. It says, I'm not sure what this means. It seems to be, again, I'll look it up b'chol zot in a minute. Seems to be that the Jewish people will inherit all of the lands of Edom and the other nations that because my name is upon them. So in other words, it looks like the Jews will inherit all the other nations that had sinned even. So this is not your best, from my understanding, and I might be getting it wrong, this is not your best prophecy that's saying it's going to be great for all the nations. This looks like a prophecy that is specific for the Jewish people.
Okay.
And later on verse 14, I think, I will return the returnings, the beautiful phrase, but it doesn't sound so good in English, of my nation Israel. And they will build their cities, the desolate cities, and they will plant, and they will sit in them, and they will plant the vines, and they will drink the wine, and they will make beautiful gardens, and they will eat the fruit of their gardens. This is happening in our day. This is like the agricultural weekly. It's exactly there. That was verse 14 and verse 15. And I will plant them on their land, and they will not leave or be taken off of their land that I gave to them, says the Lord your God. It's a tremendous prophecy that has come true in our times. And today when I read this, when I was taught this verse in my B'nai Akiva youth, Zionist youth movement, religious Zionist youth movement, I was all of 12 years old. And my counselor, who was maybe 16, said, I'm going to teach you an amazing prophecy that came true in our land. Look, this is the Bible. I knew the Bible. Wasn't too good at the Bible. I knew that the Bible was given by Moses later on. Thousands of years had passed. I knew that there was an exile, 2,000 years of exile, not to mention the exile from the first Bible, from the first temple period. And then he said, look at this. I will plant them on their land, and they will never again leave their land. And then he would show me a magazine, a full-color magazine of the land of Israel. I'd never been to Israel. He may or may not have ever been to Israel. So look, God is bringing millions of Jews back to the land of Israel, and we're going to go there also. We're going to live in the land of Israel.
Yes.
Amazing. And the Christians who read that and see that, I believe that their faith in the God, that God is a promise-keeping God, the faithful God, is just strengthened even more.
That's true. Well, can we check Sefaria on verse 11?
Sure.
Because the Sukkah of David intrigues me. It may refer to his household, his people, his kingdom is being restored, which connects to the rest of the chapter. Or could it connect to the tabernacle? He wasn't allowed to build the temple. Solomon's temple was named Solomon's because Solomon was allowed to build it. But David was definitely involved by collecting all the materials. But when he went and restored Israel's possession of he had it restored, the possession of the ark, he set up a sukkah on Mount Zion, which isn't the temple site. And for like 38 to 40 years, there was worship going on 24/7. It was a unique era in Israel's history. Could it relate to that? So that's three options. The temple, as you said, the people, his household, his family, or this sukkah that he had done. Anyway. See what
11, you said, yeah. On that day, after all these sinners were fighting Israel, but finally God is going to come and he's going to fight our battles for us. And on that day, I will set up the fallen booth of David. Okay, so let's see what the commentaries say. Only 30 commentaries. See if there's something where that's long. Here, so the Mitzudat David, it's the name of one of the prime commentaries. He says that the verse is talking about when I will reinstate the dominion, the kingdom of the house of David.
Okay. It's
not talking about a physical structure. It's talking about the house of David, like the house of Windsor.
Yeah, the household,
if you will. Well, again, when you say household, I'm thinking of somebody who's washing the floor. This is the royal house.
Yeah. Yes.
And that's what we believe, and you do too. That the king of David will return with a king that is from that whatchamacallit, that family that goes back down and down. It's not the most of these people are talking about the words, it's the destroyed parts of it. Radak, here, he's another famous one. On the day of the, on that day, on the day of the redemption, I will bring up the sukkah of David, as it said, there are in the Bible, there was the kingdom of Israel and the kingdom of Judah, right? The two.
But that was two generations after David. Under David, it was whole.
Right. But all these years, it was broken. It was a civil split. So according to the Radak, he is talking about, and of course, Amos was in the time of, like I said, which king? Amos was the king of Jeroboam and Uzziah, however you pronounce that. Let me look up, see when that was. Okay, so the king of Judah, can we see the king of Judah? Let's see if we can open this up and see a whole list of all the kings. Here we go. The red is Israel, the green is Judah. Let me make this a little bit bigger. Rehoboam, Abiyah, Asa, Josaphat, Joram, Ahaziah, Jehoash, Amaziah, Uzziah. Here we are. And at the same time of Jehoash. Is that what we said? Joash, yeah. So that's exactly what year is it? I'm not sure. But you're getting towards the end. Joash was the third or fourth generation before the end of the Israelites, and then you had another two generations of the Judahites. So it was not one of the first ones. Here, if we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He was pretty much in the middle. And he's already saying, guys, this split is no good. One day it'll come and you guys are going to all fall, but you're going to get up again.
Okay.
Here's Rashi.
Yes.
On that day, and after all these will befall him, on that day will come, the day of destiny for redemption. I will raise up the fallen tabernacle of David, the kingdom of the house of David. That's what Rashi also says.
Yes.
That's all we got here in English.
So reading it, it's easy to think of it as post-split.
Definitely.
Would this refer to pre-split? The whole nation was under the reign of David.
That's not true.
They were
this prophecy was given in the middle of the split kingdom. The United Kingdom was just these blue guys, just David, Saul, David, and Solomon. And then as soon as Rehoboam came around, then Jeroboam split from him.
Right.
That's it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 or 9 generations.
So what I'm saying is, yeah, it's easy to see the grouping on the right as the restoration. But when David was alive, his kingdom was all of those people.
Okay.
So
but the prophecy is talking about the future.
Right. It's talking about the future. I will restore the tabernacle of David, not Rehoboam.
The unified kingdom, yes.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, this story of Rehoboam kind of blows my mind. When he told the people, they said, hey, can you go easy on us? Your father was hard on us. He says, my father's waist is like my little finger. And a sad verse, I think it's in the Chronicles, it says, is the split people went back to their tents, and Judah's people went back to their houses. So were those people still living in tents?
Oy vey.
I wish I thought of to look up these conversations. I never know where we're going.
Let's look them up quickly. One Kings 12, I guess. 1 Kings 12. Not sure what the there's a lot of Rehoboam going on over here. This is the United Market. No, we want the biblical crowd. Rehoboam went to war against the new kingdom of Israel. 1 Kings 12, 22 to 24. Oh, you vase, man. No. We don't have time to go into this.
I'll be ready next time with where
You'll be ready, but I won't be. So we'll see what we'll do. We're gonna have to study. We're gonna have to study the whole Book of Kings in order to understand this.
No, it's not a hard thing. Just those poor people still living in tents while everyone else is living in houses.
I'm not. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Tough. Anyway, that's it. We spent a long time here today, and I actually have another call coming up.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
It's been quite a pleasure, and let's see when our next meeting is going to be. And 1 second. I see us scheduled for Monday, the 24th of July, but I won't be able to make it on that day.
Okay.
So I'll be in touch with you. Maybe we'll, but Monday is your day, right?
Well, Monday's an ideal day, but if you can't make it that day, then we could do a week earlier, maybe. I don't know.
No. This is my week that I have a whole bunch of stuff going on this whole month. The week after that, we can do it on Monday.
31st.
Monday the 31st, we'll be able to do it.
Okay. All right.
Let me write that in.
That will be my goal.
Second. And you are Alan, right?
Yes, sir.
There it is at Generations People. Okay. That's a special one, and I will cancel the one of the week before. Okay, I'm sending it to you, but don't get confused. One I set up and one I canceled.
Okay.
Okay, looking forward to seeing you then, sir. Have a great